Hi, it is a privilege for us to be presenting in the 5th Asian Education Symposium 2020. Our presentation is entitled Extensive Listening and Vocabulary Acquisition, a Systematic Review. It's Nita Liando, Christine Payo, and Mr. Gideon Mahru from Universitas Negeri Manado, Tondano, Indonesia. Now I'm giving the chance to Christine to proceed with the presentation. Over to you, Christine.
Thank you. In the first part, I'm going to present about background and the purpose. It is undeniable that in a language learning process, the vocabularies are essential. It should be recognized as a central element of learning, which is fundamental to develop learner skills well. Liando 2018. Since the language learning is a dynamic process, therefore, learners are expected to learn continually so they can acquire a lot of vocabulary to develop their English proficiency. Focusing on English as a foreign language, there is a practical way offered to every teachers, lecturers, or even practitioners to be adopted in language classroom that can elevate students' vocabulary knowledge. It is extensive listening. Extensive listening is one of the approaches in language teaching classroom that can be used by the teachers or lecturers, and it must be conducted pleasurably over the extended period of time. By recognizing the potential of extensive listening in developing learner skills or in acquiring more vocabularies, in this study, we are conducted the systematic review to investigate the effectiveness of extensive listening on vocabulary acquisition from the year 2016 to 2020. The method, 6 steps are carried out in order to answer the research questions. First of all, researchers have to determine the questions and formulate the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Afterwards, the researcher will search the related literatures in the e-journal database, such as Google Scholar, ERIC, or Science Derrick, or so forth. And then, of course, by using the keywords. Subsequently, the related study has to be assessed according to the inclusion and exclusion criteria, as well as assess the quality of the related studies. And next, the data will be extracted into a summary table of information. And after that, researchers have to synthesize the studies to answer the research questions. And in the final step, writing up the report. Finding and discussion. First of all, we can see in the chart that the national contacts who are involved in the review studies are from 3 countries. But it is important to notice that Colombia here is only the place where the study was conducted, but the participants were the foreigners. So they consider English as a foreign language. And the second findings is the participants come from students and teachers, but the majority of participants are from students, especially for those who at the tertiary level. Furthermore, there are main findings here, and it shows us that extensive listening gives incredible effects on language learners. And the classroom training that has been done by the researchers in this reviewed study, it's only served as a stepping stone for learners so they can improve and they can do extensive listening individually at home, and it can help them in the process of acquiring vocabulary. Because the participant derive from both students and teachers, so I'd like to explain briefly the student and teacher views about extensive listening. Students perceive that by doing extensive listening, they can learn by their own style. And of course, it helped them to come across with the various spoken language input. And it also promotes uh, learners' autonomous learning. And teachers perceive that extensive listening, of course, sharpen their English skill. And of course, it is conducted as their daily routine. And then to wrap up, here are some conclusions. First of all, EL provide learners to have considerable input. Also, it allows them to be more familiar with the spoken language, which will lead them to the process of vocabulary acquisition. Second, due to the resources are widely available, extensive listening is highly recommended to be undertaken in every single day practice. And the last, fluency doesn't take place in a short time. Therefore, learners are encouraged to conduct extensive listening regularly because the consistency of having massive amount of language exposure is the key for the vocabulary acquisition. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all our presentation. Warmest regards from the land of coconut waving, North Sulawesi, Indonesia. Goodbye.